So for the past few weeks, I've been using my iPad to basically do everything I would normally do on my laptop. This is the first time I've tried this, and in the process, I have learned a lot of pros and cons of doing something like this. So if you're looking to get an iPad to either replace your MacBook, or maybe you don't already have a MacBook and you want to see if you can just get by with an iPad to do some laptop kind of tasks as well. If that's the case, you're in the right place. So let's start with some of the pros. So from the very first day I started using this thing, I noticed just how much more flexibility and portability this thing offers compared to a laptop, because especially in my case, this is an 11-inch iPad, so it's obviously smaller than my 13-inch MacBook, so it's easier to fit in my backpack and carry around. But then a lot of times if I have to read like a long email or an article or even a contract on my laptop, on the iPad, for example, I don't have to always carry this keyboard part with me. I can just detach the screen and maybe just sit at a couch, relax and read, right? It's so much easier. Same thing goes for a little bit of content consumption. If I'm watching a video or anything, I don't have to have this whole package with me at all times. I can just use the screen to watch wherever I want. And it still has the built-in on-screen keyboard. So if I do need to type somewhere, I can still do that. And unlike a MacBook especially, you have the touch screen, which is actually very useful. Like for example, using a calculator or switching tabs, right? Instead of moving your cursor precisely to each button on a calculator, you can just tap away and it's so much faster. And since you have Apple Pencil support, even for someone like me who doesn't really draw at all, it's actually very useful because I'm signing a lot of documents all the time. So it's very easy to just, download the document, sign and send it back right away. Normally I would have to send the file from my MacBook to my iPad and then back to my MacBook. And if you're a student, you can obviously also use it for note-taking, which is something you cannot do on a MacBook especially. You can do on some Windows laptops, but not a MacBook. It's also very nice to have Face ID compared to the fingerprint sensor on a MacBook, because it's obviously much faster to unlock your device. You don't really have to think about unlocking it. You just open it and you're on the home screen. It just unlocks automatically. And then even signing into websites using passkeys or signing into bank account apps, right? You don't have to think too much. It just automatically does the thing. It's so much faster, so much simpler. And while this specific iPad doesn't have it, you can get yours with cellular connectivity, which could be very useful if you work outside a lot at coffee shops or just away from Wi-Fi. And normally I'm not a fan of this two-in-one kind of design where the whole computing power is kind of behind the screen, because this way the whole package kind of becomes very top heavy and it's very easy for it to tip over like this. I noticed this first when I used a Surface Pro laptop, and I was expecting a very similar experience over here, but surprisingly it's a lot better. Like even at the max tilt angle, you can push it a lot back and it doesn't tip over. Like look at this. Like this is pretty good. Finally does. So it's actually pretty easy to even use it on your lap, but obviously a laptop is much easier. And this whole package really just resembles a MacBook a lot. Like the keyboard is really nice. It feels very nice to type on. The trackpad is just like a MacBook trackpad, although it is a little bit small, but still has the haptics and everything. And the build quality, the aluminum, everything feels really nice. In fact, especially in this case, for example, this is an iPad Pro and you can spec this thing to have a nano texture glass from Apple, which is something you can also do on MacBooks. However, you have to at least get the 1 terabyte model, which is another $600, and then pay another $100 to add the nano texture glass. So $700 for that to me just doesn't seem worth it. I would probably never pay that much to just get that glass. However, you will notice that my iPad has a nano texture like display, like it has a matte finish. And this is possible because of the new Paperlike 3 screen protector I'm using. This is literally 93% cheaper than what you'd have to pay Apple to achieve essentially the same look. But it's even better in a way because it actually significantly improves the writing experience on the iPad, because it uses nanodots technology, which adds just the right amount of resistance to your Apple Pencil strokes, giving you much more control and making it feel like writing on real paper. Not to mention the installation process is now easier than ever before with the new Butterfly application system. It gives you clear step-by-step instructions, a dust catching layer, and a perfect alignment every time. It's extremely hard to mess this up, but just in case you do, you get a second one in the package. So I'll leave links below, check it out. If you really don't like it for some reason, you can return it within 100 days. You have nothing to lose. By the way, if you are actually going to buy an iPad to use as a laptop, I would not recommend you get the 11-inch model because it's not ideal for a laptop. I feel like 13-inch would be much better because the keyboard feels a little smaller. So, just something to consider. However, should you even buy it? Because as I said, there are some cons as well. So Let's talk about those. So for me, the biggest problem that I came across trying to use this thing as a laptop doesn't really have to do with the iPad itself, but more with the whole app situation on here. Because I just don't think most of the apps on here are designed to be used like on a laptop. In fact, a lot of them just feel like a blown up version of the iPhone app. For example, I use Gmail all the time. That's one of the most important things I do on my laptop. And using the Gmail app on here was a nightmare, basically. I don't have access to my Gmail templates, which meant that I had to constantly write out a lot of emails, and that was slowing me down, which I did not like. Anything that slows me down in my workflow, I want to get rid of it instantly. You also have to relearn a lot of shortcuts. For example, a shortcut I use all the time on my Mac is Command-Shift-V, which pastes copied text from somewhere else, but uses the same formatting as the rest of the email. But on the iPad, the shortcut is Command-Option-Shift-V, which sure, I could relearn, but a lot of times it just doesn't work. And so I have to go to the menu bar and then go to edit and then click on paste and match style, which was extremely annoying. And for many apps, you cannot open multiple windows like Gmail, Notion, Google Docs, YouTube, ChatGPT, and other apps. This is something I've noticed with not just one app, like I'm talking about Gmail a lot, but it's something that you will notice with many other apps that you might also end up using. Ideally, I feel like the way it should be is that as soon as you connect your iPad to the keyboard and a mouse, external mouse, it should automatically realize that you have connected a keyboard and a mouse, and the apps should be able to know that as well. And they automatically switch the UI to a more laptop-friendly design, I guess. However, I did find sort of a solution to some of my problems, especially like the Gmail app, and it was just to use Safari. I use Safari to open my Gmail, and that seemed to have fixed most of the problems. It looks almost identical to the desktop version, so I can have multiple windows, and it just works exactly the same way. However, it's not perfect because it doesn't scale properly a lot of times. Like if I have two apps open on the screen at the same time, and if I make the Safari part too small, the Gmail starts to cut out a lot of text, which is a problem. I've also noticed the cursor is just not the same as it is on Mac. It doesn't feel quite as precise. It's good, but there's just something missing. You really have to use it to understand what I mean. It's really hard to explain, but it just doesn't feel right. Something feels off. So if the question is, can I use this thing as my laptop? The answer is yes. But I think the question to actually ask is, how close does this get to a perfect laptop-like experience? And to that, I would say like 60% or so. It's good, but it's still far from what I feel like it should be. So for me, it's very hard to replace this with my laptop. I still cannot do that. If you want that laptop-like experience, you have to get a laptop. This isn't gonna cut it. However, if you are more towards the iPad, if you want more iPad features and a little bit of laptop features, then this might just be enough. But at the same time, if you just look at what you have at this point, is it even worth it? Because even if you look at just the bare minimum, you'd have to at least get the iPad Air 11-inch model and the keyboard for that, which is already $870. And for another $130, you can just get a MacBook Air, which gives you more storage, more RAM, and it's just so much better as a laptop. And again, I wouldn't really recommend you get the 11-inch model. Ideally, I would say get the 13-inch, but then of course you'd be paying more than the MacBook. But I think if you just need some very specific laptop features, like maybe you just need a keyboard to be able to write essays or something, comfortably type on your iPad, then this is good. And you primarily need the iPad features like a pencil and the ability to take notes, then this might be worth it. But that's all for this video, and I'll see you later.